Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Health Made Simple Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bart, and today we're going to do a deep dive into the 3 root causes of acne. And this is kind of a special topic for a lot of us, and especially for me. So I grew up with acne, and if I had this information back then, I don't care how hard it would have been. I don't care what you would have told me, but if you said, here's how you get rid of acne, I would have done it. For the most part, at very best, I was told eat less sugar, clean your face, wash your face more often. Obviously, it was oily and stuff like that. But today I'm going to go into these 3 root causes. I'll give you some solutions, some remedies, what to do about it. With that being said, remember, this is not medical advice. I'm not trying to treat anything through this podcast. This is only an opportunity for us to level up our health by taking better actions because we become better educated. With that being said, I want to also keep in mind this, that we're supposed to be healthy, that the human body is healthy. Unfortunately, sometimes we get in the way. We create interference in the foods that we eat, the thoughts that we have, the things that we do to our bodies physically. But the good news is that our creators created us in such a way that as long as we remove the interference, we are healing machines. So my goal is always in the Health Made Simple Show to remind you that you are a healing machine, and all we need to do is get out of the way, provide our bodies with what it needs to be healthy, to what it needs to be strong, and let the magic take over. So with that being said, let's dive right in here, and keeping in mind, of course, that our creators create us in such a way that the power that made the body heals the body really doesn't happen any other way. And it is just our job to get out of the way. And really, it is that simple. All right. So let's make this topic, getting rid of acne, or understanding the root cause of acne. Let's make this as simple as we can today. So number 1 is this. It comes down to a hormone imbalance. This is number 1. There's going to be 3 things. Number 1 is an estrogen dominance. This estrogen dominance, think of 2 primary hormones, estrogen and progesterone. What happens here is this, is if you have estrogen and it's too high because prolonged stresses, that's typically it. And the stressors could come from a lot of categories. It could come from emotional. Heck, it could come from birth control pills. It could come from foods that we're eating. We can create a lot of different stressors that increase our estrogen. And when we have increased estrogens, what happens is it creates more oil for the skin. And as a result of that, then we start to see the buildup of bacteria and we start to see the acne. So that's one way, just higher estrogen. The other way you can have estrogen dominance is that you can have a lack of production of progesterone. And we can also see this happen. This is another hormone imbalance. We can also see this happen when we have a lot of stresses, maybe prolonged stress, too much cortisol going on in the body. And this can happen anytime we have high stress, high cortisol, lots of adrenaline. That produces the oil. And this is the hormone imbalance. When we hear people talk about, I have hormonal acne, it's an imbalance. And here's the deal. If you've ever gone on birth control, you know someone's gone on birth control and all of a sudden it seems to get better, then yes, 100%. It is a hormonal imbalance, and got to go get to that root cause. Going on the birth control pill probably is going to set you up for a long-term pain, because at some point you're going to have to, ideally, you're going to come off the birth control. But the damage that the birth control pill can create along the way to gut health and other things potentially is probably not worth it when we just want to get to the work right away. So number 1 is an estrogen dominance, and it could be because estrogen's too high, or it's because the progesterone is not, or it's the progesterone is too low. Either way, we'll address those in just a moment. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that you got a gut issue. And I'm not going to go into all the gut fixes here today, but you can go back to the last episode, I believe it's 261, where I map out the actual roadmap for you to heal your gut. Here's how we know it's a gut issue. If you've had things, or if you think you have things like leaky gut or dysbiosis, any of these imbalances. And frankly, folks, most people have some version of leaky gut. If not currently, they've had it in the past, or it can come and go. Very simple. We take a round of antibiotics. It break down the microbiome. Eventually, we're eating foods like gluten and other things that are breaking down the intestinal lining, and it cuts it and it scrapes it and it leaks. It leaks the food that's supposed to be on the inside of the tube to the outside. We get this inflamed state. And there we go. In that inflamed state, that inflammation from the gut is what eventually creates the acne. So we have an inflammatory state that creates inflammation for the skin, and we see it being pushed out through the skin, especially in the face area, and that's what our acne is. So number 3, and we'll get into that, the root cause, how we're going to fix those up as well in just a moment here. And then number 3 is food sensitivities. And there could be a lot of these. And I'm going to say right now, save your money. Don't even run a food sensitivity test. Do we have them? Yes. Do we run them all the time? Yes. But for this purpose of this episode and for acne, what I'm going to tell you is this. And this is exactly what I wish someone would have told me. Oh man, 40 years ago when I was 15 years old and I had all kinds of acne and I didn't want to leave my house because quite frankly, it was embarrassing. And if you know someone who has acne, this is what I would tell you. Figure out a way to tell them, hey, you've heard some things of ways you can help that, and it's not that hard. I'm not telling you it's easy, but it's simple in the sense of it's not that complex. We can help it. And it's not just about washing your face more and just avoiding sugar. There's some other things. So number 3 here of the root causes of acne is food sensitivities. And this is what I'm going to tell you to do. We're going to take 2 foods out of your diet. The first one is going to be gluten. And it's not an easy one. It's in everyone's diet. It's all the time, everywhere. That's the bread, muffins, pasta, crackers, donuts, pancakes, all of those things, folks. They all have gluten in them. And here's the truth. There's no benefit to gluten, zip, not a none, other than it makes us feel better for the moment because it acts like sugar and boosts us up a little bit. But ultimately, it has things like phytic acid. It robs nutrients robs some of our minerals like iron and zinc and magnesium. It takes from us and leaves behind an inflamed state. And it's often common that the more gluten we eat, the more gluten we want, because it's like this never ending. You can't satiate it because you're continuously breaking it down. It converts just like sugar. And next thing you know, we have an entire inflamed body. And this inflammation, this leaky gut, this dysbiosis where there's bacteria overgrown in your gut. This is another one of the root causes of acne. Now, that one isn't the easiest to fix, but now let's map out. We're going to keep this short and sweet today. And here's just this is all I want you to do. If you or anyone you know deals with acne, just please share this with them, because I'm telling you, when I was young, if someone said, here's what you can do for this, and listen, there's a lot of medications out there. There's some rough stuff out there. There's a lot of people right now that are on Accutane. You've been on it. I'm not telling you to get off it. I'm not telling you to stay on it. I'm not telling you to get on it, whatever it may be. But listen, the Accutane will create gut issues over long periods of time that will thin your hair out over time. Eventually, you're going to start to lose hair. You're going to have more side effects from Accutane the longer you take it than what was worth just dealing with the acne in the first place. And when you come off the Accutane, guess what? You never fixed anything, so you still got to deal with the root causes, which is probably going to be some level of an estrogen dominance, some level of a gut issue, or some level of a food sensitivity. So here we go. Let's assume you have all 3. Let's just go fix them all 3. Here we go. All right, so here's your action steps. Number 1, you're going to clean up your diet. Do this for 30 days. 30 days, take out gluten and dairy. So inevitably, someone's going to say, well, what about organic, and what about raw milk and all that stuff? This is what I'd say. Unless you need it for the 30 days, just leave it out. Yes, you could probably get away with A2 cheese, that's a raw milk or something like that. But for 30 days, keep the dairy out and keep the gluten out. The level of success clinically that we get on a regular basis by just getting those 2 things out, it's ridiculous. We always see skin improvement by just getting gluten and dairy out. And then introduce one at a time back. So 1 for a couple of days, see how your body responds. So you bring back gluten 3 or 4 days if you want. I'm not telling you to. And then if all of a sudden symptoms come back, hey, listen, and then you get to make a choice. Do I want my pizza more than I want my acne? Because you're going to get, if you have one, you're probably going to get, if you have the pizza, you're probably going to get the acne again. So you start to get to make decisions for yourself. And then eventually, if you want to bring the dairy back, do that. I find that most people, they got to keep the gluten out, and who cares? It's just not good for us anyways. So keep the gluten out. And the dairy, I typically find that all the processed milk, you're going to keep all of that out, all that pasteurized, all of that homogenized stuff. You're going to keep all that crap out. You can often do pretty well on raw milk. And especially if you're going to do cheese, you find yourself an A2 cheese. And most people do pretty good. Even the ones who didn't think they could do good on dairy can do pretty good on that. But that's after fact. 30 days, hunker down. And here's what I also know. You take gluten out and dairy out for 30 days, you're not going to die. You're going to have an incredible experience of what it takes, the mental fortitude, the mental wherewithal to go without a food like gluten, like dairy for 30 days. And hey, listen, for some of you, you will break. And I'm not poking fun at you. I'm not judging. You will break. You won't be able to handle life without gluten for 30 days. How do I know? Because you're going to do it. Even though the acne is the thing you're trying to get rid of, you're still going to go back and eat the food. But if you break off and you end up having a little bit, just hunker right back down and get rid of it, because I'm telling you, the results we get by just getting gluten and dairy out 100% it's bonkers. We do get home run type of results. Now, that being said, does that mean all of a sudden you switch to all the foods that say gluten-free, all the gluten-free cookies, all the gluten-free chips, all the gluten-free breads? No, do your best. Keep all the crap out. Ideally, you go to a whole food diet. If you got one ingredient, eat it. If it doesn't, don't. The more you lean into your animal proteins, you will clean your skin up, folks. You will get good, healthy cholesterols back into your body. You will get all the nutrients. You get the good fatty acids, and your skin will start to glow once again. And most likely, just by doing that, you're going to get the majority of your acne out of your life. All right, now let's assume that it is you have the food sensitivity. That's going to be your first action step. It's going to get rid of the foods. The next one, I'm going to give you some very key supplements to take, especially if you have a hormone imbalance, and most likely you do. And even if you don't have a hormone imbalance, if you have some acne, these two supplements that I'm going to suggest, you probably have never heard of either one of them. These two supplements are home run hitters. And this goes for boys or for girls, men or women. The first one is an herb called chase tree. Chase tree is one of my favorite herbs to help the body, men and women, naturally produce the highest levels of progesterone, which again, naturally, we're not pumping progesterone in or anything like that. We're not pumping it up. We're just giving the body an opportunity to make more progesterone to balance out the estrogen dominance, that estrogen being too high relative to progesterone. Once we balance that out right away, we start to see an impact, especially from the hormonal component. And again, if you're ever went on birth control or you used Accutane as a result, and that helped your acne, then this is going to be the home run for you. I pair that with an additional supplement. This is something called wheat germ oil. Wheat germ oil is the purest source of vitamin E. Now, this vitamin E, which most people know that vitamin E is really good for your hair, skin, and nails, but we're really going to use this to help your hormones communicate a little bit better. More often than not, one of the issues we end up with hormone imbalances is because we got so much crap in our body, the hormones can't communicate. The receptor sites, the cells aren't communicating. And so we got so much crap going on in there. So this is going to enhance that opportunity. Typically, I'll recommend 2 chase tree in the morning, 1 at night, 2 wheat germ in the morning, 2 at night. So that little protocol combined with getting rid of gluten, getting rid of your dairy for 30 days, folks, home run, absolutely home run. All right, now that being said, the one other area is the gut. If you have leaky gut, and there's a very good chance that if you have these things in your diet, like gluten, like dairy, and you have acne, you probably have a food sensitivity issue and you have a gut issue, and there's a good chance you've developed a hormonal issue. The hormonal issue did not start at all. It's a result of the other things. So I would also recommend at some point you start to clean up your diet. That's not as simple as me just sharing with you, take this supplement or just do this one particular thing. But if you listen back to just last week's episode of episode 261, I map out for you exactly what to do, how to do, when to do when it comes to the roadmap of healing up your gut. I would go in that direction. Either way, if you start with these first 2 action steps here, cleaning up the diet, using those subs, you're going to get amazing results. All right, folks. And again, here's my little message for you. And again, when I was a teenager, I dealt with acne, and it was just miserable. It just made things hard. I was a confident young boy, confident young man until I had acne, and it just changed everything. And I watch grown men and women, like still, you get some acne, all of a sudden you got yourself a North Star, whatever it is, and it just changes. No one likes it. So if you know someone that is dealing with it, from the kindness of your heart, somehow find a way to share this with them and give them a little bit of insight. They will not hate you for it. They're not going to be upset that you recognize something that they know is very obvious. So sometimes it can be a little awkward conversation to say, hey, listen, I see you got a lot of acne there. There's opportunities to make some changes here. So whenever I can, I do that. And from my heart, not saying, hey, look, your acne is really bad, but rather there's a route for this. There's some answers for this, and you've probably tried a bunch of things, but to get to the root cause, so you don't have to go on long-term medications or long-term drugs that are going to have other issues, there's some other solutions. All right, with that being said, folks, keep doing your thing, keep sharing it out, keep spreading love. Thanks for doing those things as well. Whatever you're doing, the 5-star reviews that you guys are leaving, and if you haven't yet, please please review and give us a 5-star. Leave some comments and spread it out. Whatever you're doing, we're reaching more people, and that's been the whole goal of this podcast. Thanks. We'll see you in the next episode.